Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Dog Mom Knits podcast, episode 3. My name is Amanda, and you can find me on Instagram as Dog Mom Knits and on Ravelry as Dog Mom Knits 08. I'm coming to you from my living room / yarn room in coastal Virginia, where I live with my husband, Sean, and our 3 dogs, Bandit, Copper, and Finley. This is a knitting podcast. I'll talk about what I've been knitting lately, some things that I have acquired. No yarn this time, which is a good thing, I guess. Although, I like yarn. So, and links to everything and the project pages on Ravelry for all of the projects that I talk about are right down below. So you can't really see it, but I am wearing my knitting shirt from Knitting Natty. This was her definition series. It's the definition of knitting. I'll take a picture of it and insert it later. But I do not have any knitted garments. I only have accessories. So I can't wear, like a cool sweater that I've knitted because I'm still afraid of knitting sweaters. Like I'm going to put in it takes me forever to knit something, and I'm so afraid I'm going to put in all that time and it's not going to fit. So I just don't even try, which isn't good if any of my students are not watching this. But if one of my students ever told me that, I would say, oh my gosh, that is so not a good reason. We do not let fear stop us from trying new things. One of these days, I'm going to take my own advice. I don't know when, but one of these days. So it is, I'm recording this on February 13th. So I try to podcast every 2 weeks. So I've got kind of my mid-month, how am I doing on my February goals. And then, so I'm not curious to see. Copper and Finley are playing. They haven't played all day, but then as soon as mommy sits down to record, it's like, game time. It's all good. Maybe they'll quiet down. Maybe this will get cut out. We'll just have to wait and see. It's a dog mom life around here. So I'm interested to see how this podcast goes, time-wise, whether it's similar to the length of my previous ones or shorter. I'm anticipating shorter, but I don't know. First time doing a mid-month podcast, so we'll see. So each month I have 3 big goals for myself. One is to finish what I'm calling a languishing whip. So a project that has been in this pile, that's what this pile is, for a while, that has not been knit on for several months, that I am digging out, committing time to, and trying to finish within that month. My second goal is to complete a pair of socks for the Desert Vista Dye Works 8th Annual Sock Club. And then the third is to start and finish a new project. So let's see how February's goals are going so far. So the first goal, the languishing whip, they are done. So these are my socks made out of Rags Fiber Arts in the Magic Yellow Magic colorway. They are incredible. I wish this camera would do them justice because they are so bright and so colorful, and they are so in person, and on the camera they are so muted, but I just love them. So when I pulled these out at the end of January for them to be my my languishing whip project for this month, I was just before the heel of the second sock. So I had one sock finished. I just had to kind of get to the heel and finish the second sock, which I did. They were just speaking to me and calling to me. These bright colors are making me smile so much. And so I just wanted to knit on these, and I got these done. So I started these socks on August 30th of 2021 and finished them on February 7th of 2022. So they didn't languish for that long, but really wanted them finished. The pattern that I used is Vanilla Socks on Magic Loop by the Crazy Sock Lady. It's my kind of go-to pattern when I just want to knit. The only modification was that I did a Fish Lips Kiss heel instead of the heel flap and gusset that's called for in the pattern. I like how both heels fit me, so it's kind of, when I get to the heel of the first sock, it's whatever I decide to do that day, and then I just do the same on the second sock, and I'll alternate back and forth, as you'll see when I show you my Desert Vista Dye Works socks in just a minute. But it is a 20 round cuff. I did a 70 round leg. I'm looking down at my notes because I don't want to forget. I did a 70 round leg. I usually do 70 or 80 rounds of my legs, on my legs. If I really love the yarn, like I really loved this yarn and I'm really loving the project that, or the fabric that it's creating, I'll do more than kind of a typical 60 rounds of the leg because I want to use up more of the yarn. So 20 rounds of the cuff, 70 rounds of the leg. Like I said, I did a Fish Lips Kiss heel, and then these are for me. So I knit to 8 1/4 inches. I have a sock ruler, which I was going to grab and I didn't. So maybe I'll show you that next time. But 8 1/4 for me on this sock was 74 rounds for the foot. And then I did the typical toe that is in Kay's patterns. And I just love them. They are so, so, so fun. And like I said, I wish this green is much more like neon green in person and blends into the pink. So it does swirl like this, but it's, I don't know. It's not as obvious in person. It's much more cohesive in person. So now that I have podcasted, these can come off my sock blockers and I can start wearing them. And I'm so, so ready to start wearing them. I put my leftovers in my leftover bin, which is right there. I was going to try to grab it, but it's really heavy. I do have a Coziest Memories blanket on the needles. I worked on it pretty diligently 2 summers ago, adding in my scraps, and then just kind of, it just became a languishing whip. So my hope is that I'll get back to that and get back to adding squares to that. And so I have one bin that has all of my scraps that are going into my Coziest Memories blanket. And then anything that's already in my Coziest Memories blanket is in another bin because I'm thinking about starting a granny stripe blanket. There's one hang up with that. I know how to crochet, like in theory. I'm just not very good at it. So the question for the granny stripe is whether I can even do it. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that I'll be able to figure that out and get that going, because I think that would be a great way to use up the rest of my yarn. Because when I love a yarn as much as I love this Rags Fiber Arts yarn, like I want to use every single ounce of it. Like I do not want to leave any of this anywhere. If I can use it, I want to use it because it just is so gorgeous. So yeah, maybe leave below some encouraging words if you crochet. Or an amazing tutorial for somebody who knows the basics of crochet but doesn't know the intricate pieces of crochet. Like I really don't know what I'm doing. I know the idea. I've seen people do it. I've done it. I'm just not very good at it. So yes, if you have a link to a really good video or a resource, please pop it into the comments down below. I would really, really appreciate that. So languishing whip. Check the box. So one of my 3 goals for the month is done. My second goal is my Desert Vista Dye Work socks. These are living in my Scaredy Cat bag, excuse me. This is from the guy who sews, who is my husband, Sean. This is his sock size bag. I love this bag. It is so funny. Okay, I don't know if you can hear Copper and Finn, but it's playtime again, apparently. So my socks for January are, for Desert Vista Dye Work socks, are Monet Impressionist Sunrise. And if I can figure out a way to do it, I will insert a picture of the painting that inspired the yarn. But these are my socks. I'm so sorry if you guys can hear them. They are just living their best life on this Sunday afternoon. And I love it. I love watching them play. So these are the socks. This is my first sock so far. Or the first, anyway, what am I trying to say? Words, Amanda. I got distracted by the dogs. Sorry, you guys. So this is the first sock. I did a Fish Lips Kiss heel. So like I said earlier, I really will just kind of pick, like I'll hit the heel and I'll be like, okay, what am I going to do? And I'm going to do the Fish Lips Kiss heel for this one. I'm going to do the heel flap and gusset for this one. Yeah, whatever works. So this was a heel flap and gusset because, I got to the heel of this sock when I was at some of my students play on the JJV boys basketball team at my school. And they had a game yesterday afternoon and I, finally was able to make it. I have wanted to go to one of their games all season and just have not had time. So I went yesterday and I was knitting in the stands. I'm sure they got a huge kick out of that because they like to tease me that I'm an old lady because I love to drink tea and watch British shows and knit. And I tell them that's all well and good until they ask me for a hat. And then I'm going to remind them that they called me an old lady. But this is how the sock is turning out so far. It is absolutely beautiful. I love that in this like light blue gray, there's some of that darker speckly stuff, which if I was able to insert a picture of the painting, you can totally see the inspiration there. This is the back of the sock and the heel. I just think it's turning out so beautiful. I am using the Crazy Sock Ladies idea of keeping or putting in a light bulb stitch marker every 10 rounds. I did 70 rounds of this leg. I was only going to do 60. Sorry guys, that hedgehog has a lesson to learn. That's what's happening over here. That hedgehog's about to learn a lesson. I was going to do only 60 rounds. Can you guys hear that? I mean, I can't imagine you can't hear it, but it's really funny. I was only going to do 60 rounds, but I was just knitting and knitting and knitting and knitting and knitting and not paying any attention and loving how the stripes were coming out. And I got to a certain point and I was like, oh, I wonder how many rounds I've done. Because I hadn't put any of my light bulb stitch markers in. So I sat down Friday night and was like, oh yeah, let's go ahead and start putting stitch markers in. And I was already past 60. So I was like, well, I guess I'm going to 70. And then, like I said, because I was at the boys game, I went ahead and started the heel flap, the slip stitch heel flap because I didn't want to start a heel flap. Nope. What's it called? A Fish Lips Kiss heel because I'd end up in the middle of a round and have to put it in my bag. I didn't get very far on the heel though, because the game was really, really close and I was knitting really, really tight because I was tense and cheering my boys on. So that was pretty fun. I put it down because I was like, I'm not going to get this heel on my foot if I do not stop knitting so tight. I am very excited though for a completely different reason. I did the heel flap, the heel turn, the gusset and everything this morning. And, again, I'm just using the Crazy Sock Ladies, vanilla socks on Magic Loop. And I realized for this sock, this is the first time that I haven't had to go back to the pattern to look at numbers. I officially have the sock memorized, the sock pattern. And that's just really cool. I don't know. It's just a cool little, I don't know, win. Is it a win? In my knitting journey that I don't need the pattern anymore. So that's pretty exciting. I apologize if that notification, if you guys could hear that. I never get text messages until I start recording. So can I turn my notifications off? Okay, maybe I just did. I don't know. So that is my Desert Vista Dye Works socks. Again, this is just sock number 1. I'm getting a little nervous that I'm not going to make my goals this month, and I'm trying to remind myself that that's okay. It's okay if you don't make your goals. But hopefully. My third goal, my new cast on, is my Sweetheart socks. I said in the last podcast I was fudging these a little bit because I did the test knit for this pattern for Nitty Natty in January. So I just have the second sock to finish. And the whole leg is color work. And then there's 2 patches of stripes on the foot. So I just have to knit the second one. And I haven't started it. 14 days of February, 14 days of December. Excuse me, Amanda, like you don't even know it's February. Come on. 14 days in February to knit 1.5 socks for Desert Vista Dye Works and 1 sock of my colorwork socks. Yeah. In my head, I'm like, you can do it. And I'm like, can I though? Can I though? I'm gonna take a little sip of water. I'm just drinking ice water out of my favorite cup. I'm sorry if you could hear the ice. Sorry if I just shook the camera. So on to acquisitions. If you watched episode 1 and 2 of the podcast, you will know that I am a little bit obsessed with 3 by the Sea Designs. I love their stitch markers. And so they put out they put out a product in, I think it was either December or January, and it was going to be a Valentine kind of gift bag. And so I bought one for me and I bought one for my best friend. It came with a card and it says, Happy Valentine's Day. Love 3 by the Sea Designs. And I love that. So I thought I would share it with you guys because I knew I was going to be podcasting really close to Valentine's Day. So this is what I got. I got some tea. It's strawberry tea, strawberry gourmet black tea. So that might be tomorrow's tea. I got some Red Hots. I got a lollipop. I don't know if it'll focus on that. And then I got in this little mesh bag, I got a fabric covered tape measure, which is just beautiful. And it pulls out like that. And then phew, right back together. And that to me, just, I don't know, it reminds me of cherry blossoms. I'm not sure if that's what it's supposed to be. I'm not very good with flowers. But it reminds me of cherry blossoms, and cherry blossoms are my favorite, or one of my favorites. So that's just feels perfect. Perfect. And then, it came with 2 stitch markers. So sorry for the crinkling. I'm going to go ahead and take it out because I do want to use these on my second Sweetheart sock. So it is a heart and a candy, which it is not. My camera does beautiful things when I'm taking pictures, but then in videos, it does not want to focus. I'm so sorry. It says sweet. And then the heart is just beautiful. So when I cast on that second Sweetheart sock, I'm going to use those. So I'm really, really excited that now that I have shared that on the podcast, I can go ahead and maybe that'll be some motivation to cast on that second Sweetheart sock. Now that I have it done. Like I've unpacked it. I mean, I unpacked it when it arrived, but now it's usable because I've shown it on the podcast. So my second acquisition is from my husband. So a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, I mentioned to him that I wanted to change how I was organizing my needles. So quite a few years ago, he made me this needle case, which is really, really fun. It's got sheep on it, and it ties together with ribbon, and it is, I'll show you. It unfolds like this, and each of the pockets has has a needle size, and yeah, and I have been using this for quite some time. There's nothing wrong with it. It just isn't, I don't know. It's not working for me, because I'm lazy, I think is what it is. And I don't want to unroll something and retie it when I'm done with a project. I just want to move on to the next thing. So I was talking to him about other ways that I could organize my needles. And I mentioned to him that some people keep theirs in zippered pockets. And he said, oh, I mean, like, and he kind of like sketched out for me and the idea that he had in his head. And he's like, do you mean something like this? And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of. And he goes, you know, I could make those for you. And I was like, wait, are you serious? And he had just watched a tutorial on how to make zippered bags and was interested in practicing a bit more on them, because the project bags he makes for me are all drawstring bags. And so I was like, well, I mean, if you want to, I would love that. So he bought some more zippers because he didn't have a ton of them. And we picked fabric. He had fabric that actually had knitting needles on it, which was perfect. And so this is what he came up with. And so it's yellow numbers with a yellow zipper on this one. And these are my size 1 and 2 needles. So basically all of my sock needles. And they all just fit in there. Nice and neat. I do tend to keep the packages my needles come in, because then I can remember that these are Hayas. I can remember that they are 1.5s, US 1.5s on a size 40 cord. I don't know. And they just fit in there. And I can pick up what I need, take out what I need, and go. So he made me a 1 and a 2. He asked me what sizes I would want. A 3 and 4. That one's green, obviously, with a green zipper. He made a 5 with a pink zipper. A 6 with a purple zipper. A 7 with a blue zipper, light blue zipper. 8 had a red zipper. 9 and 10 is orange. 11 and 12 is gray. And then there's going to be a 13 plus, because I do have some 13s and I have a set of 15s. I don't know that I've ever used those, but I have them. And I took all of my needles out of the original needle case, laid them out, made sure I had the right sizes, used my needle gauge, and made sure I had the right sizes and put them all in their bags. And I made a little video of it, so I'll go ahead and insert that here. the question, as soon as I was done, I was like, okay, so what do I do with this? There is nothing functionally wrong with it. It works great. It just doesn't work great for me. So I'm going to give it away. If you would like to win, I guess, this needle case made by my husband, the guy who sews. Again, it has little chic all on the outside, and then the inside is purple and some knitted fabric. It has space for sizes 1 through 13. It has space for circular needles and straight needles, because that's what I was looking for, and he was custom making it for me. Yeah, if you would like to win this, just leave a comment below this video and include the words needles. And I will, before I podcast again at the end of the month, I will pick a winner and announce that winner and ask you to get in contact with me. So, the guy who sews needle case, I believe this is a one of a kind. The dogs are fighting over hedgehog again. That poor hedgehog has no idea what's awaiting it. So yeah, if you are interested, please comment below, use the word needles, and I will draw a winner before I record again in 2 weeks. So that's it, knitting wise. That's all my projects that I've been working on. That's all, well, all my knitting projects that I've been working on, and my acquisitions. So I'll do a quick life update. So if you are not, if you're just here for the knitting, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time at the end of February. So the big news in the world of me, is that I help out with the drama program at school, and in less than a month, it is now officially less than a month. Can you guys hear Copper? I am so sorry. I'm so sorry, guys. It is officially less than a month. Opening night will be a month from this past Thursday. My school's, the students will be putting on Mary Poppins. And this is one of my all-time favorite movies. It is one of my all-time favorite Broadway shows. And I'm so grateful that I get to be a part of it. I am helping the director with sets and props items. And that is a big undertaking in Mary Poppins. There are quite a few special effects pieces because Mary is magical. And then there's other just really fun stuff like Michael's kite and the broken kite in scene 1 and the repaired kite at the end. And the other kites that the kids fly when they sing Let's Go Fly a Kite. And the really cool display pieces for Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. And it's just been really, really exciting to be part of something so, I don't know, so big, I guess, but cool at the same time, because it's just, again, it's just one of my favorites. So when the director told me that Mary Poppins had made the short list, I actually like jumped up and down and happy clapped, because, and I immediately started with, what can I do? What can I do? How can I help? Do you need an extra pair of hands? I would love to be involved. So sorry, Finley is very interested in my new needle organizing bags. So that's been great, but because the show is now less than a month away, it's, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of moving pieces to basically recreating a Broadway show. So so I've been working a couple Saturdays and a couple afternoons. Love it. It's just, I think, why I'm getting a little nervous that my knitting goals won't be as successful this month. I'm okay with it because Mary Poppins is completely worth it. I am still reading the Maggie Sefton knitting series. I am on book 5. And I've read it before and I still love it. If you are at all interested in cozy mysteries, I highly recommend that series. It's just really, really good. I have not finished Castle. I said on the last podcast that I thought I would finish. There have been 2 weeks in between this podcast and last, and I think of those 10 working days, I got home at 7 o'clock or later, probably 5 or 6 of those days. And so there has not been a lot of TV watching. This past week, if I had time to sit down and watch TV, I was watching the Olympics. That's something that I've always loved watching. I love listening to the athletes' stories and seeing their passion for their sport and their love for their country. And it's just so heartwarming to watch and feel like you're a part of something, I don't know, so much bigger than yourself, I guess. So that's what I'm watching. What I am not watching is, so word on the street is that there's a football game tonight. I don't watch football. My boys, and quite a few of my girls get very upset with me. Air quotes on the upset. They're not really upset. Get upset with me because I just find football I find it boring. And they like to tease me about that. But yeah, so if you're watching the game tonight, great. My parents love football, so I get kind of the scoop from them about the two teams. And if I'm understanding correctly, the Rams are at home, but the Bengals haven't been to a Super Bowl in decades. So I'm rooting for the Bengals just because they haven't been in the longest. If I'm remembering correctly, and by rooting for, I just mean like, go Bengals. But I'm not watching. I'm not going to watch tonight. I'll ask my boys tomorrow who won and if there was anything good that happened during the game that they want to tell me. And they'll come in wanting to tell me because they know I didn't watch. And then tomorrow I'll go on YouTube and search like best commercials of the Super Bowl and watch those. If I can get somebody to message me when the halftime show comes on, I'll probably watch that because, I'm a child. Like, I was born in 79, so I'm a child of the 80s and 90s. Like, and that halftime show is like my high school and college years. So, yeah, if I can get somebody to tell me, my parents can tell me when the halftime show is starting, I might tune into that, but that'll be it. And then the only other kind of weird thing going on is that it was 70 degrees yesterday here in coastal Virginia, and today we are supposed to get snow. This evening it is supposed to snow. It's not supposed to snow and stick because it was 70 degrees yesterday, but that's why I sound a little congested today. It's because the roller coaster of temperatures is messing with me a little bit and messing with my allergies. But I am looking forward to it snowing. Even if it doesn't stick, I don't care. I just love watching it snow. And then, yeah, we'll still get to go to school tomorrow. So that's awesome. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day. My husband and I don't have any really big I don't know that we have any plans at all. We don't usually for Valentine's Day. Our wedding anniversary is in March. So we usually do something more for that, than do something for Valentine's Day. But, if you had plans, cause I think this will go up after Valentine's Day. So if you had plans, I hope they were great. I hope you enjoyed, whatever it was you did. I hope the last 2 weeks have been full of reasons to smile and moments that warmed your heart. And I just hope that moving forward, these last 2 weeks of February will give you lots and lots of reasons to be joyful and happy, and lots of time with family and friends. So that's going to be it for this episode. I will be back in 2 weeks to do my end of February recap and talk about what I'm going to knit in March. But until then, I hope you are just full of joy and happiness in everything that you do. Happy knitting.